The story of Emmanuel Haro is one that has left a lasting mark on the hearts of many. His disappearance and the tragic circumstances surrounding his case have created a lingering sense of sorrow and uncertainty for his family, community, and all who have followed the heartbreaking developments. Emmanuel's name has become a symbol of innocence lost and of the questions that remain unanswered. Tributes like this are meant not only to remember his life, but also to reflect on the need for truth, justice, and closure. While the circumstances remain clouded in mystery and grief, Emmanuel's memory continues to inspire compassion and a call for accountability. His absence is not just a family's tragedy, but a wound felt across an entire community. The day everything changed, what began as an ordinary day took a devastating turn when Emmanuel was reported missing. At the center of the storm were his parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, whose actions and accounts would quickly come under investigation. The loss of a child under such circumstances is a nightmare that few can comprehend, and the initial search for Emmanuel was filled with desperate hope. In the hours following his disappearance, law enforcement officers and community members mobilized to locate him. The urgency, the prayers, and the restless need to bring him home created an atmosphere of both unity and fear. Every moment felt crucial, and yet, the answers that emerged were not ones that brought comfort, but instead deepened the tragedy. A father's role in the investigation, the case took a shocking turn when Jake Haro, Emmanuel's father, reportedly confessed to detectives and led them to a location off the 60 freeway near Gilman Springs Road. For many, this moment was a cruel confirmation of their worst fears. Crews and cadaver dogs searched the area with painstaking effort, hoping to recover Emmanuel's remains and provide his family with the closure they so desperately needed. However, the searches yielded no results. No remains were found, leaving the tragedy suspended in uncertainty. For Emmanuel's loved ones, this lack of discovery has been especially cruel. The confession suggested a grim ending, yet the absence of physical evidence has left Emmanuel in a painful limbo, neither fully gone nor safely returned. The arrests of Rebecca and Jake Haro, only hours before the search for Emmanuel began, both Rebecca and Jake Haro were arrested at their home in Cabazon. What initially appeared to be a case of a missing child quickly became entangled with allegations and suspicions directed toward his parents. Rebecca's early claim that Emmanuel had been kidnapped during a diaper change was soon exposed as inconsistent under the scrutiny of investigators. The arrests of both parents painted a grim picture of a household fractured by tragedy and turmoil. For the community, the realization that those entrusted with Emmanuel's care might instead have played a role in his disappearance brought anguish and anger. The trust that should exist between parent and child seemed broken in the most unimaginable way, compounding the heartbreak of the case. Shadows of the past as details emerged, it became clear that Jake Haro had faced legal challenges prior to Emmanuel's disappearance. Reports revealed a history of probation and firearms-related issues that further complicated public perception of the case. These revelations added a troubling backdrop to the tragedy, making it harder for many to reconcile the hope of Emmanuel's safe return with the reality of the situation. Though these legal troubles may not directly explain what happened, they underscore the struggles that can exist within families. Emmanuel, as a child, should have been shielded from those shadows. Instead, his life was caught within them, leaving many to reflect on how cycles of hardship and instability can leave lasting scars on the most vulnerable. Community grief and support. In the aftermath of Emmanuel's disappearance, the community came together in grief, prayer, and solidarity. Candlelight vigils, heartfelt messages, and community gatherings became expressions of collective sorrow. People who had never met Emmanuel felt the weight of his story and shared in the heartbreak of his absence. For many, Emmanuel's case represents not only the tragic loss of a young life, but also the importance of unity in times of crisis. Communities have the power to hold each other up when tragedy strikes, and Emmanuel's memory has become a rallying point for compassion and togetherness. His story serves as a reminder that even in the darkest times, love and support can shine through. The pain of unanswered questions, perhaps the most haunting part of Emmanuel's story, is the uncertainty that still surrounds it. Without the recovery of his remains, there is no true closure. Families often speak of the unbearable burden of not knowing, of living with the constant ache of questions that have no answers. Emmanuel's loved ones face that burden every day. The rumors and speculation that circulated on social media only deepened the pain. Claims that Emmanuel had been found in the Badlands were quickly dismissed by authorities, but not before reigniting hope in some hearts and despair in others. The reality remains that Emmanuel is still missing, and his case is far from resolved. Remembering Emmanuel despite the heartbreak and the unanswered questions, Emmanuel deserves to be remembered for more than just the tragedy. He was a child whose life mattered deeply, whose presence brought joy, and whose absence has left an irreplaceable void. In remembering him, we honor the innocence that was lost and the love that will never fade. Tributes such as this are a way of ensuring that Emmanuel's name continues to be spoken, that his story is not forgotten, and that the call for truth and justice continues. His memory lives on in every person who mourns him, in every candle lit in his honor, and in every prayer whispered for peace. Conclusion: the fact remains that Emmanuel Haro is still missing, and the tragedy surrounding his disappearance has shaken all who know his story. It is a tale of innocence, sorrow, and the desperate human need for closure. Though his life was brief, the impact of his absence has been profound. As we reflect on Emmanuel's memory, we hold on to the hope that someday the truth will emerge, and his family and community will find the peace they seek. Until then, Emmanuel remains in the hearts of many, a beloved child whose story calls us all to remember, to care, and to never stop seeking justice.